the easiest way to approach the history in between Philippines and Mexico is through food.
Yes.
Because it was the first thing that we started exchanging. Food is a universal language, just like music. You don't need to know the language. Give anyone fruits, give anyone food,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't matter if they understand each other. They will get it.
Yeah.
You know, they will be on the same page. That's why I say, like, all the world conflicts will end if you sit down the right people, give them some tacos,
Yeah.
and then
Tacos,
and then tell them, now let's talk about our differences.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody will fight with a full tummy of tacos. You know, like nobody wants to fight after eating. Everybody's in a good mood.
true.
Everybody's in a good
On
spirit.
siestas.
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter what's going on with the world after you eat. You're in peace.
The solution to world peace, to finding world peace, is through tacos.
Right. Make tacos, not war.
Mabuhay and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tez Milan and I am about to eat my face off. We are here in Mexico City about to do a tour with Eat Mexico, and we are gonna be eating a lot of street food. I'm so excited, I can't even stand it.
So what takes you to Mexico City, guys?
Food!
Food, that's it, right?
Food is like a big thing here. There's also a connection between the Philippines and Mexico that I'm really curious to learn more about.
That's why they assigned me to your tour. I'm kind of like interested in this history that you've been talking about.
Really?
Yeah, that's especially because I have a lot of Filipino friends, a lot of cabaya. I used to live in the Middle East.
Did you say Kapampangan?
Yeah, my background is culinary 100%.
Is that how you were in the Middle East? Were you working
Yes,
there?
working over there as a chef. So we realized that none of us knew about our shared and common past. First, like, oh, how is that you understand some Spanish word and
what do you have all Spanish names?
and then I started to read about it, and I remember some of my history lessons, you know, at school. And we realized that there was some common past that
Totally.
most of us non-Filipinos, non-Mexicans know about. We were basically one nation. We both have a very old, ancient culture, you know, like before the Spaniards came to both places, we were already having Aboriginal cultures, indigenous culture, you know, so it's really, really interesting. So are you ready, guys? We're gonna go to the Jamaica Market, the Jamaica Market. It's the best market for this time of the year because it's the flower market. It's gonna be busy. All the families are gonna be buying their decorations, flowers, candles, everything over there. But Jamaica also has really good food and a really interesting history. That's the market, by the way. This is Jamaica Market. But before we go into the market, we are gonna have a bite in one of the most unique places in Mexico City. We're gonna go to the birthplace of Huaraches. Huaraches, it's a dish that we love. It's a Mexico City dish. Some people like to call it the Mexican pizza. It's kind of like a flat bread made out of masa stuffed with beans that then gets slightly fried and then topped with meats and salsas and even with melted cheese.
Is that it?
Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? I'm just getting a table for us, right, guys? Let's go. Let's
Muchas
go.
gracias.
The traditional huarache is very, very simple. It was the masa with the beans fried, lightly fried, not deep fried, lightly fried, and dressed with salsas. That was the original model. From there, it has evolved into different things. The word huarache means sandal. Sandal, like the sandals. Café de olla means coffee boiled in a clay pot. We have the clay pot, we add water, we add in there like a stick of cinnamon, the rock sugar that we use traditionally that it's called Piloncillo. Once it's dissolved, when it's boiling, we toss the coffee there and we let it simmer. And it's a sweet coffee. Huarache is an evolution of a dish that it's older. The dish, it's called Tlacoyo. We've been eating Tlacoyos for the last 3,000 years. It's one of the dishes that was part of the original Mexican diet. The original Mexican diet before the Spaniards arrived was almost 100% vegetarian, close to vegan. The animal proteins were consumed every now and then, but not on an everyday basis. And the base of the diet was corn, beans, squash, chili, cactus, and tomatoes. Right? Yes, cactus, nopales as we call it. Then the Spaniards come and they introduce us to a bunch of other ingredients like beef, pork, and chicken were introduced by the Spaniards. Dishes like tlacoyos, they were like the everyday diet before the Spanish arrived. The Spanish arrived, things changed, and then over the time, we start to develop dishes like huaraches.
Is it written down that this is what they ate?
That's a really good
In the
question.
Philippines, we don't have like any documentation of what life was like pre-colonization, and so it's amazing that you have like an understanding of what you ate or what they ate before.
A lot of it, I have to admit, has been passed through oral tradition because we have written record of all that. Unfortunately, a lot of it was borne down by the Inquisition and the Spaniards. You have to remember that according to their Western mindset and Catholic mindset, many of these things that involve all these traditions, they were considered kind of like witchcraft.
Yes.
So they were burned down. We really don't have any green record properly.
Yeah.
We have few here and there, and almost everything we know for the everyday life comes from the Spanish chronicles, which honestly cannot be like very reliable.
Yes,
Because
yes.
then again, everything they wrote it through their own perspective. Would you like to film how this is made? So here the masa gets stuffed with the beans. They make this bowl that later on it's going to be grilled directly. Once it has some structure, when it's already a little bit hard, it's going to go to the frying station. That's where they fry it. Over there you can see them punching some holes on the ones that are already grilled. So the fat, the oil, when it's being fried, goes into the coals, giving also some flavor to the beans. Is how it is made.
You said this place has been here for 90 years?
91.
91. Wow.
Because this place is the birthplace of the Huarache. So imagine the canal was coming from that main street, and the people that was not willing to pay the toll will stay here in this plot of land that was owned by a Jamaican guy. In this market, one lady, very poor lady, started selling food after her husband passed away. So she started making tlacoyos, the dish that I told you that we've been eating for 3,000 years. She was kind of like making them bigger, less beans, just to make it yield and to make more money out of whatever she was having. And had the brilliant idea of adding some oil, So just not grilling, but frying it. Because of the fat, it was having a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
And then she was just preparing a killer salsa. People went nuts for it. It became an instant success. And people started to ask her, but this is not a tlacoyo, what is it?
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know, it looks like a sandal, So
Huarache.
people started to call it huaraches. The birth of this dish happened in 1932. Jamaica is known as the flower market. And it's the only market in the entire city that opens 24/7
Whoa.
because of the flowers. Flowers need to be transported by night. Otherwise, the heat
they wilt and die.
will ruin them. So that's the time of the day where they get all the flowers. This is a traditional ingredient that we call piloncillo. It's a type of rock sugar that is made by boiling the sugarcane juices until the water evaporates and all the sugars start to caramelize and solidify. Once you have these molasses, very thick molasses, they let it dry. Once it's dry, they take it out, and that's what we use to add sweetness traditionally to beverages, to desserts, like the Café de Olla that you had before, must have this type of sugar added. It's actually something that you will find through the world. In India, for example, they call it jaggery. In South America, they call it panela.
Interesting. The thing that I've noticed about Mexico City is the smells. As soon as I landed at the airport and I got out and we took the taxi, had the window down, I smelled everything. And I was like, it smells so good.
And also at the same time, it's vaguely familiar.
Yeah.
The city, the looks, the language, it's somehow vaguely familiar. Guys, we're going to try some of this. Hola, buenas, ¿cómo estamos? Here we're going to try some of the traditional candies that we usually traditionally place on the altars.
On the altar?
Yeah, the most traditional one, it's the pumpkin. This pumpkin, we call it Calabaza and Tacha. It's a candied pumpkin that it's cooked, the whole pumpkin, in a syrup made out of the sugar cones that we saw. And then we let it boil in there until the sugars caramelize. They become this dark, and the pumpkin becomes fully cooked.
That is so good. Here, come try some.
You will find definitely even seeds because it's cooked, the whole thing.
Isn't that delicious?
Let's try this one. Sweet potatoes. We call it camote. How do you call the sweet potato?
What do we call sweet potato? Yeah, we call it sweet potato.
Oh, in Tagalog.
Well, we have a purple one called ube.
We call it camote. That's what you're trying.
Okay, that's what you're.
Something that people don't really know is that citruses come from Asia. And obviously, in the case of Mexico, many of the citruses came through the Philippines. Now we have some caramelized kumquats.
My God.
Here people just call them naranjitas,
Yeah.
like little oranges. I suggest you to grab the whole thing.
The whole thing? Mmm. It still has the skin on it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Like it's the skin on the sweet potato, on the pumpkin, on the limes. Those are just orange rinds caramelized. Without the pulp, it's just the orange rind.
What's really beautiful is that it's sweet, but not overly sweet. Is that a lime?
That's a lime stuffed with coconuts.
Oh.
By the way, coconuts or like the use of the coconut palm tree came from the Philippines.
Yes.
Would you like one?
Sure, yeah, let's try it.
You eat the skin and the inside, everything. It's coconut with lime. You're gonna cut it in half. You eat the whole thing. Skin and everything.
So eat the skin. Eat the
Eat
skin.
the skin, everything. Yeah.
That is really good.
Really good, right?
Oh my God.
This way of candying, of making confiterie, actually comes from Spain, but it comes from the Middle East. They were conquered by the Arabs, then the Spaniards conquered us for 300 years. So some of the ways of cooking, even the Spanish language, it's peppered with elements coming from Arabic tradition. So it's obvious that that also is going to be happening in the Philippines. This family sells all these just during Day of the Dead, sometimes during Christmas. So they are not in here all year round. What they do all year round is they sell fruits and vegetables, but on festivities they sell this. Muchas gracias.
Muchas
Hasta luego.
gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
I'm sure that you're familiar with Longaniza. That's part of our common Spanish heritage.
Yeah. Is it also for breakfast like it is in the Philippines or all day long?
We don't use them just for breakfast, we use them for all day long.
It's smart.
And it's part of our Spanish heritage. The one that you might not be familiar with is the green longaniza over there.
Yeah, that's what I
The
was
green
just
chorizo.
noticing.
It's ground pork, but instead of having like dry red chiles and red spices,
Yeah.
it's made with fresh green herbs and spices. And the most important ingredient over there is the pumpkin seed, pepita. And it's gonna give a totally different flavor and note to the longaniza, to the chorizo.
Amazing.
It's really, really good. Sometimes in the longaniza, you're not only finding like pepitas, like the pumpkin seed, but you can also find some pistachios and peanuts mixed in the ground there. Anything green can go in there. I have ordered for us to try today the green chorizo, the green longaniza. Sí, claro que sí. Gracias. Usually, I don't suggest you to try it by itself, but since I want you to try it and to notice the differences, just grab a piece of meat and try it by itself. Once you have done that, then let's go and dress the taco the traditional way.
This is the green longaniza.
It's green longaniza.
Oh my gosh, so good.
For us in the company and for me personally, I think this is the best green chorizo that you can find in Mexico City, or one of the best. My suggestion: cilantro, onion, lime, a little bit of salt. Go for it. If you like salsa, the red salsa is my favorite.
Go for it. Try it. Oh my God.
The crunch comes from the grilling, but also from the nuts and the seeds.
That's a whole other level. Oh my God. Wow. It is spicy. And I don't know what's spicy.
Everything.
Oh, okay. Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Gracias.
What I want you to see is this.
Chicharrón.
Yes, you know it, chicharrón, pork rind. Like it is also a common ingredient in the Philippines.
Oh, yeah.
It is part of the Spanish tradition. It is the pork crackling.
So in the Philippines, we like to eat chicharrón with vinegar. Is that something that happens here?
Those flavors like vinegar, fish sauce, those are flavors from over there. We are not used to. Here we are gonna have like a chicharrón taco.
A chicharrón taco. Yes.
That's what they do. And this is not really a place that sells chicharrón tacos. You come, you buy chicharrón, and kind of like a courtesy, they give you just a taco. It's sold by kilo. It's a staple, lazy Sunday meal.
Oh my God.
Here you have like the pig skin that has already been dried out here with salt until it becomes leather. Once it's like that, they will put it in the piping hot lard to fry it. It will expand. What I love about this place is that you can still hear it popping, you know, like the skin crunching.
I grew up with this, but I've never seen it being made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is amazing.
Tres taquitos. There you go, guys. Salsa is right over there. Might be spicy.
Never had a chicharrón taco. Wow. The tortilla is so...
It's good, right?
The tortilla is good. I mean, the chicharrón is like mind-blowing, but the tortilla is really good too.
One of the good things about Mexico is that all of our tortillas tend to be like really good.
Yeah.
It's rare to find like bad tortillas. Happens, but it's rare. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Thank
Let's
you.
go this way. So this is still part of the Jamaica Market where we ate the taco. It's kind of like the new side. This is the more traditional side.
Okay.
And also we are heading towards the flour area. But before we go into the flour area, we're gonna have another bite.
Oh, yay.
Yes, we're gonna try quesadilla with Huitlacoche, corn smut, corn fungus. It's a type of mushroom that grows in the corn. In the rest of the world, it's a pest. In here, it's a delicacy, but we know that calling it corn fungus or corn smut, it's not really sounding very delicious.
Yeah.
So we like to call it the Mexican truffle. It's better. When farmers in the States notice of Huitlacoche, they burn down entire crops. This is a corn kernel infected with the Huitlacoche, with the corn fungus inside. So that's why it's black. I open it, you see? It's kind of like grainy.
Oh yeah.
Those are the spores that are already cooked, so it's not unpleasant. Try it without anything. It's already kind of like a little bit spicy.
Okay.
Because Huitlacoche is sauteed with chilies, onion, and fresh corn just to give that extra note of corn. If I have to describe Huitlacoche to someone that hasn't tried it, I like to say that it's kind of like in between corn and a porcini mushroom. Very delicate flavor.
Yeah.
And the color, it gets color like squid ink, like calamari.
Delicious.
Really good.
Yeah.
So we have 3 more stops. We have a very traditional snack. The biggest gift from Mexico to humankind is corn, because we domesticated corn close to 9,000 years ago. So there are different ways to eat corn around here. We're gonna try a few of them, all right? We're gonna try something that is called esquite. Esquite is when we remove the corn kernels from the cob and we stew them. We're gonna try the grilled one. This is grilled and then we stew it. We're gonna try chileatole. It's gonna be corn but with poblano peppers and epazote. And the traditional one that is just stewed with epazote and chile, all in the corn husk. We're trying to be a little bit more eco-friendly. Just kind of like a stew. Corn, epazote, chiles.
Really good.
And this one is grilled and then it's stewed with chiles and epazote. That's why you have these burnt charred marks. These are the kind of snacks that we are used to consume. We've been eating this type of snacks for thousands of years. The one that connects them all, it's epazote. Epazote is this herb, has a very strong smell, strong flavor. The type of corn that you see over here is Cacahuazintle. In the States, you know it as hominy. This is the type of corn that is used for pozole. It's seasonal, and as you can see, it's the big kernels. Nowadays, we have nachos with ramen.
With ramen?
Yeah, like the instant ramen with corn kernels and then corn chips and then drizzled with cheese and extra spicy taki powders. We add chili powders, we add like sometimes chorizo. It's one of those Franken foods becoming out of hand. I just want you to try like pan de muerto.
Pan de muerto?
Yes.
Like the dead bread?
Bread of the dead, yeah, it's the traditional bread that we cook for this celebration. This is bread of the dead, pan de muerto. The traditional one is orange blossom, and the one that I like in here is the walnut one. It has this shape. These things kind of represent the bones. Like sometimes they have a little ball in the middle that represents kind of like the skull, and it's just like a sweet representation that's coming, and there's no way to run away from it. The circular shape represents the cycle of life and death. The 4 bones represent the cardinal points, but also like the 4 main deities of the Mexica culture. And then it's like the bones and the tears that we shed for the ones that passed away. This is orange blossom.
So good. It tastes like orange.
Orange. This is the traditional flavor one. Orange blossom, flor de azar. They prepare it in here. That's how they prepare it. It's really tasty. Like this is what I told you, it would be busy, it is busy. So the carnita spot is here.
Perfect. That's the dessert.
Yeah, let's find a spot to sit, all right?
Want to go here?
Yeah, perfect.
As I told you before the Spanish arrived, there was no cows, no pork, no chicken. Carnitas was one of the first dishes that we started making once the pork was introduced. Actually, the first record of a carnitas taco or something similar to carnitas is after Hernán Cortés won the Battle of Tenochtitlan, when he finally won the battle here in Mexico City. To celebrate, he bought 300 pigs from Cuba. So the pigs arrive and they cook them. They cook them the Spanish style, that it's on this big skewers, rotating very slowly like lechon,
Yes.
which is something you know
Yes.
because it's also popular in the Philippines. In the middle of the cooking, they realized that there was no bakeries, no wheat. So how are they gonna eat lechon without bread? They saw what the locals were eating and they started eating lechon with tortillas. It's the first time that we get like written record of a taco. That's what we're gonna have in here, guys. So I like something that we call surtida,
Okay.
assorted,
Okay.
bits and pieces of everything.
Have you had sisig?
What is that?
It's sizzling.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically all of the pig face.
Uh-huh.
And they chop it up into little tiny pieces and it gets really crispy.
Really crispy.
And then they eat that over rice.
Yeah, I have tried it. The flavor will remind you of that. Oh, this is a drink that they prepare in this place. This is called tepache. It's a fermented drink made out of tamarind, pineapple. In this place, they also have apples, guavas, and bananas. And all that is mixed with water, piloncillo, and they let it ferment. Kind of like a kombucha. Originally, tepache was kind of like a part of the ancient medicine. All these fermented and semi-fermented products, they were really good for the stomach diseases.
Oh, that's really good. It's very refreshing.
It's very
Yummy.
refreshing, right?
Yeah.
And it has
Nicely sweet too.
this point of fermented that it's really nice. My recommendation for your carnitas taco, a little bit of lime, a little bit of salt. And I'm a red salsa guy, so I always suggest the red salsa.
Oh my God. That's dessert.
That's dessert, yeah.
That is dessert.
The way carnitas is cooked, it's a confit. So it means that they submerge the entire pieces of the pork in lard. And then they cook it
God.
at very low heat for really, really long time.
I don't even want to know what this is.
It's not about the flavor, because the flavor it's very similar.
Yeah.
It's more about textures. That we Mexicans love different textures.
This was amazing. Like, I knew the food was going to be good, but just the wealth of knowledge of like history and the passion for making all of those connections is like, it's so great.
A week ago, they announced that the Michelin Guide will be present in Mexico City.
Oh my gosh, finally.
I have like mixed feelings about it, but we have some of the best restaurants in the world.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
No,
for
thank
everything.
you.
It was so amazing.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for asking
Oh,
really
thanks for
interesting
sharing
questions.
all of your stories and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Gracias.
So that was our food tour of Mexico City. Oh my God, mind blowing. Thank you so much to Eat Mexico for making this experience just so incredible. Thank you to Adrian for sharing his beautiful stories, his love of food and love of history and heritage. If you have any suggestions for food that I should try here in Mexico City, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching. Paalam. Goodbye. Adios. So good.